Hello and welcome to Arms Innovation Coffee. I usually don't say it like that. Arms Innovation Coffee brought to you by ARM. My name is Robert Wolf, your host today and every Thursday at 5 p.m. UTC, bringing you all of the great and amazing things happening in and around the ARM developer ecosystem. Now, today we have a very, very special episode in store for you. I'm going to let our co-host, who will be joining us in just a minute, tell you all about it. And our co-host just so happens to be my boss at ARM. So, make sure everyone applauses when we bring her in. I want to see a bunch of claps on the chat screen there on YouTube. But on YouTube, as I said, and as I always say, make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the ARM Software Developers YouTube channel. And throughout this episode, if you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask our panelists, our co-host, or myself, make sure you post it in there, and I'll be sure to get those questions answered as soon as possible. Now, I think that we should get started because this episode is unlike our other episodes where we have one guest. We actually have 4 featured guests, an entire panel of engineers from ARM and outside of ARM, including our ARM developer program, which will be talked about a lot during this episode. So let's skip all of these pleasantries and bring in our co-host, Gemma Platt, director of the developer marketing organization at ARM. Gemma, how's it going?
Hey, Robert, I'm good. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm great. Very excited. Very happy. This is gonna be a really good.
I feel a bit privileged to be here today. I'm not going to lie. However, I'm typically one that likes to be behind the camera, not in front of it. So this is going to be a new experience for me today, but one I'm super excited for as well.
And you know what, Gemma? I'll tell you something. We haven't done a panel like this in a very long time. So I think it's best that you and I are doing it.
Taking it up. We need to do stuff like this. It's cool.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So, Gemma, I think the first thing we got to do here is get to know you, right? You've never been on the show. You've never co-hosted a show with me. And by the way, sorry, Gabe. Gabe is still here. He's behind the scenes. He's going to help us out with banners and stuff. But Gemma, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about the panelists, a little bit about what we're going to be going over today, because this is kind of your show.
Yeah, no problem. So, hey, everyone, I'm Gemma Platt. My camera has now gone blurry, which is always good. So let me just sort that one out. If I turn it off and on, sometimes it sorts itself out. But
maybe if you do this, Gemma, like if you
we'll do this. We'll try and get some focus going. Why does this is live? This is live streaming for you, right?
It's the first of the demo, guys. We always get it.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can fix that when we bring our guests in. You'll have a chance to kind of maybe.
Let me just turn it off for a sec and see what happens. But anyway, hey everyone, I am Gemma Platt. I'm head of developer marketing at ARM, and I've actually been in the marketing industry for around 15 years, working for various technology companies, including hardware and electronics manufacturers, as well as SaaS startups. And for the last 3.5 years, I've been working here at ARM. I've always had an interest in tech, and part of that was very much getting hands-on in radio editing when I was at university, as well as TV and content creation. So my role now is very different from where I started, but I'm really excited about the work we've been doing as a team for the last 6 months, and it's been centered around creating the ARM developer program. And this is basically our efforts. Yes, we have logos, but you can't see mine because my screen is still blurry. Bringing a community of developers together to share the amazing work that you do on ARM and how to learn from each other. And we really want to try and solve the problems that you face in your development and kind of build this thriving community. So the reason I'm here today and that Robert's let me co-host is that we want to hear from ARM experts and also an ARM ambassador about how we can encourage more women and people of color who are typically underrepresented in tech to join in our program and to apply to be an ARM ambassador. We have a window of opportunity where people can apply. This is a rewarding and exciting role for anyone interested in sharing the cool and significant work that they do on ARM-based systems. So without further ado, we will be talking to you about the backgrounds of the panel. We want to know how they got started, what they love most about technology. But now I'd like to introduce you to our panel. So we have Noura, we have Juan, we have Pareena, and we have Gemma joining us today.
Excellent. And Gemma, excellent intro there, Gemma Platt. I want to just kind of clarify something here. while usually every week, we're out hunting for guests, we're out trying to get people, involved on this innovation coffee. Gemma Platt and Gemma Paris put all of this together. So this wasn't us at all. I want to give a huge round of applause for Gemma Platt and Gemma Paris for getting this panel all set up. I mean, this is amazing. I got to kind of sit back a little bit this week because you all just did amazing work. I have a whole run of show here that you put together, the questions, and this is gonna be fun. So thank you very much, Gemma and Gemma.
Not to get confusing at all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gemma, we have some origin stories coming.
We do indeed. So I'd really like to kick this off, starting with Noura, who's one of our ARM ambassadors. We'd really like to know a little bit about yourself, where you are from, the work that you do now, and what inspired you to get started in technology.
Thank you, Gemma. Hi, everyone. Hi, Robert. I'm so happy to be here today with all of you. So I'm from Tunisia. I have a PhD on communication systems from the National Engineering School of Tunis. And currently, I'm the director of the Computer System Engineering program at MedTech. So MedTech is a private university in Tunisia. And I'm also assistant professor teaching computer systems.
Wow, awesome. Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll go over to Juan. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself as well? So similar questions, a bit about yourself, where you're from, and the work that you do, and what got you to be inspired in technology.
Thanks, Gemma. Thanks, Robert. I'm glad to be here. I'm Juan. I'm right now a senior application engineering manager at ARM. So I have been at ARM for now over 13 years. And I have been doing the technical roles since actually dated back to 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I was still a student, and I got a chance to learn, say, some programming language like a BASIC or Pascal and typing. Back then, 1998, 7. Back then, the time was just about the computer science to boom. So I studied computer science and got developer roles later on. And then I moved to Cambridge. I joined ARM, and since then I always work in the development work and also supporting developers.
Amazing. Thank you, Juan. You must have seen a lot of different changes in your time, especially since joining ARM as well, right?
Absolutely. Different technologies.
Brilliant. Thank you. Gemma Paris, would you like to answer the same questions for me? So a little bit about yourself, where you're from, the work you do now, and what inspired you in your tech career.
Right. Okay. Yes. It's a pleasure being here with all of you today, and thanks for the opportunity. So I come from Spain, from a village in Catalonia. It's an agricultural center hub. And I was gifted in maths and physics, and that's why I got a grant from the government of Spain to study electronics and telecommunications engineering in Barcelona. And then I got another grant from the European Union to study to do the Erasmus program and going abroad. I wanted always to travel and learning things abroad. And I specialize in radio communications there. I loved so much the experience that I decided to go to work in another country. So I landed in UK, and I have around 20 years, so my God, how time flies, semiconductor work experience. And what I love doing the most is what I'm doing currently at ARM for the past 10 years, by the way. So it's understanding the requirements from the developer community and facilitating the tools and education collateral and hardware development platforms that they need. And so those people are the ones to do the software applications of the future. And as a personal anecdote, perhaps I wanted to just share with everyone that when I started here at ARM 10 years ago at the interview stages, basically I was interviewed for not the role I'm doing, but I applied for the developer ecosystem partner management role for the GPU IP. And when discussing with my manager to be about, but what does this mean? what we try to achieve in here, my manager suggested, is we do want to start growing the ARM Mali IP developer ecosystem. We want to nurture it to make it very healthy. And then I said, well, then me, rather than perhaps partner management, I would really like to do the developer education collateral. What hardware development kits do you have? Best practices? And we left it that way. And the following day, I got a phone conversation from him, a phone call, and said, you know what, I'm going to do a bespoke position for developer education, and I really like your answer. So, and from here on, I've been doing developer education and doing the planning and interfacing with engineering to get the tools and the resources that we need for developers, and I am enjoying it.
That's awesome. You know, you said one thing, Gemma, that made me, let's bring Gemma back in. Gemma Platt. Gemma Paris, you said one thing that, you know, I kind of repeat to people sometimes when they're like, oh, you know, why did you go into engineering? And you know, I feel fortunate. I think you said that you were lucky to like math or be good at math and physics, or I don't know if you said something like that. Me particularly, yeah. I kind of felt like, well, why did I go into engineering? Is like, well, I enjoyed math and physics, and you know, there's so many careers to choose from, but I personally kind of gravitated towards engineering because of you know, my love for math and physics. It was mechanical physics, to be particular. As soon as I learned those kinematic formulas, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. So yeah. Anyways, very cool, very cool.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Gemma. And Pareena, moving on to you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, the work you do now. Obviously, we'll go into that in a bit more detail, and then kind of what inspired you in your tech career as well.
Yeah, thank you, Robert and Gemma, for hosting this. You know, I think Robert and Gemma's comment just previously, you just stole from what I was going to say in terms of why I ended up in engineering. It truly is a love for math, right? So I originate from India. That's where I grew up and I went to school. I did my undergraduate studies in electrical and computer engineering in India as well. I come from a very engineering-focused family. My dad's an engineer, my sister is an engineer. So there's a lot of that influence going on to add to it as well, which is why I am in some way where I am. But it is the love for math which drove me into the field of engineering. And more than math, it is the love to debug, right? I love to solve problems. It's what keeps me going on a regular basis. It's that feeling of achievement when you've actually fixed a problem. So in terms of what I do, I'm a principal solutions architect here at ARM. I've been here for about 7 years or a little more now. And I have worked with ARM technology for a lot longer than the 7 years that I've been at ARM. I've worked in the field of modeling, primarily around, you know, virtual prototyping, which is creating models of ARM devices and ARM hardware. So in the field of modeling, what you don't realize is you get a huge amount of exposure to both the realms of the hardware itself, as well as the software that essentially is to run on the hardware for things to work on. So I've worked with partners wherever tools come into play, you know, whether it's compilers, debuggers, modeling, you name it. I've worked with partners on tons of projects to make things work for them to achieve their goals, and which is essentially why I love being a solutions architect here at ARM.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It seems like you have so much in common, all of you, which is great to see for today, right? It's great to hear. Thank you. Robert, do you want to go over to the next section for our coffee time?
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention I came from China originally, from a small city, and 500 kilometers north from Shanghai. So in the map, it's quite close. And I moved outside of China to Germany as a developer in 2007, and then moved to Cambridge, joined ARM in 2010, beginning of 2010. Just that's a bit of my add to my background. Yeah.
So people from all over the world, literally the six of us are covering the entire north, south, spheres and east-west spheres of the entire world. So very, very cool. Yeah, so I want to move to the next segment, which is an icebreaker round. We're going to do a quick icebreaker for everyone here. But Carlo Grisafi, who is in the chat, while you were speaking, Pareena, he says, I think I worked with Pareena briefly during my internship at ARM, and he was actually reporting into Alessandro Grande. Maybe you remember him, but I guess you may have helped him with FVP models.
Oh, wow. Hi, Carlos. It's a small world. It's nice to be tuned in.
So that's really cool. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, the icebreaker round. This is a fun one, and I think we kind of talked about it in the green room. But for this one, we're going to ask you to show us a little bit about what you have in the room you're surrounded with. Let's play the sequence real quick. So Innovation Coffee Cribs. Innovation Coffee Cribs is a fun one. If you have any tech, any cool things that inspire you when you're feeling down, debugging your code, maybe you're looking at a cool Lego figurine. I don't know. What are some of the things that you kind of that inspire you in your home office and or just some cool tech you have around you? And we'll start with you, Noura.
Yeah, sure. So I have my first Lego man here.
That's cool.
It's about 3,000 pieces, and I really like him. I really like puzzles, Legos, and so on. And it's inspiring when you got like stacked with problems, you know?
Yeah. So when you're debugging something, you just look over at the Lego figurine and say, I did that. I can do this too.
Yeah, we can do it.
Nice. Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Noura. What about you, Juan?
Thank you.
I have got a microbit of a gift from ARM 25 years anniversary. So it's a very cool gadget that is a development board. Basically, it has got a very tiny M0 on this board. So this always reminds me of things, technology started from very small, but it's the innovation point. And imagine in the past, the computer, right, with the tiny bit of computing power, and it requires a whole room of physical space with those wires and logics. And whereas these days, right, the smartphone has got such a powerful CPU in it, right? So it's just very inspiring to think about our technology these days. With tiny chips, actually, it got so much compute power in it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You brought that up, Juan. We actually go around, as part of Team ARM, which is a team inside that initiates a lot of activities locally in your communities, STEM-based activities.
Uh-oh, did we lose her? She cut out. Maybe when she gets back, we'll let her finish that thought. I was going to say, I heard, Juan, that you were going to auction that off to the two co-hosts. We were going to flip a coin at either Gemma or I.
This is 25 years anniversary gift, so I'm not going to auction.
That's priceless, right?
Yeah, but I believe actually ARM provides such boards, simple small development boards, to encourage and distribute to schools. Actually, a student can just learn from our volunteered engineers to program simple programs, like how to program a traffic light, right? Or let the lights dance with music. This type of fun things, and also robotic programming, all based on simple boards. Well, simple these days, but can be very complex in the past. Yeah, but ARM has lots of such programs to support developers.
Yeah,
development, the hobby fans.
Yeah, I was going to say the low code, no code movement was kind of sparked by devices like that. And I remember going to some conferences where they have these microbits laid out with, the Scratch code interface there where you can go and you just kind of plug and play and make things happen. I believe it was Scratch with microbit. I know that Scratch is on Raspberry Pi and these other platforms, but a great way to get, young people involved in tech. So very cool. And if you change your mind, just let me and Gemma know. We'll be happy to put a plane for that.
I probably fancy that one. I reckon my daughter would give that one a good go. She's very interested in that sort of
Nice
stuff.
try.
So, yeah.
We got Pareena back. Pareena, did you want to
Yay.
finish your train of thought there?
Oh, yeah. Which train of thought? The microbit. All
The
right. I
microbit.
had my computer just die on me, so the demo gods are definitely with us, Gemma. I'm on my
Aw.
phone, by the way. But anyway, on the microbit, I think it's a great. ARMS funded us with a whole bunch of these microbits so that we can go out to local middle schools, high schools, wherever you are in your community, to get kids engaged with programming pretty early on, because it's so user friendly for a middle schooler or even someone earlier than that to get their hands on a piece of ARM technology and have fun things happen with it, like emojis, and get that going with a microbit. That's something you see a spark of excitement in a child, and that initiates them to get more involved with technology. So I think it's fantastic that ARM's given us a whole bunch of these.
Robert, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Last but not least, we're missing Gemma Paris, right?
Yeah. All right. What I have on my desk, I'll be quick here because I don't have gadgets, but I have a very good tool. Chocolate. And I use very dark chocolate because that helps me to give energy boost that I need.
Very nice. Yes, chocolate, I think, can rescue you from any situation, right? I personally have these little mints. I like these little sour, sweet mints.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's about as good as my banana, Gemma, right?
Really helping you.
True.
Brilliant.
Very nice.
That's awesome. Thank you so much all for sharing.
So I think now we're going to the main segment, right, Gemma?
Yeah.
Okay. So do I start that one or do you?
That's over to you to start.
Okay. So the main segment here, right? We have an amazing panel here. We have some crazy, amazing things that have been going on in the ARM ecosystem, especially the stuff that Gemma Platt here is leading in terms of the ARM developer program that was recently launched in January. So we thought that it would just be great to hear your thoughts, the things that you're doing in the developer space on ARM, as well as the things that you're doing for the ARM developer program and or with the ARM developer program. So we posted the link down there. And if you aren't already signed up, go to that link and sign up. But we have questions for you, and we're going to bring these out right now. And I think mine's the first one here for Juan. Juan, could you give us a bit of a background on what deliveries you have done at ARM, or deliverables that you've done at ARM to help developers coding for ARM platforms? I think that's perfect since you showed up the microbit there.
Yes. So my role, since I joined ARM, I joined a partner enablement group. So what does that mean? So ARM has developed so many technologies, so CPU, GPU, and other system IPs, etc. And our silicon partners would adopt these technologies and make it integrate into their SoC designs. And so my job is actually to help the developers to actually make the system integration successful and to make the application run successfully onto the chip. So since joining ARM in the last 13 years, I have been supported so many different products and facing different type of developers. So initially, compilers. So we support thousands, even probably millions of ARM developers on using our compilers, different varieties of compilers, programming and compile code efficiently onto our various CPUs and etc. And later on, I moved into supporting another bunch of type of developers in learning about our CPU architecture. So basically, I do trainings I develop training modules and deliver and explain and teach our developers on what the CPU architecture looks like, what type of new features are in, what's the fundamental concept. It's literally a cool thing because it is basically you are teaching people about computer science, and ARM is defining computer architecture. Isn't that cool? So I really loved it, and just feel very it's very meaningful and rewarding to be able to have this type of job and engaging with developers on the coolest architecture. And I do, except for training, I also answer lots of questions from developers on how to program things. And for example, the SIMD, single instruction, multiple data, right? How to interpret these instructions and how to optimize these instructions, and how to use it in a performance library or use our compilers that is related to the CPU architecture. So those features, and then move on to even more bigger subject, high performance computing. Again, I work in a space that facing developers all the time because I support a bunch of software tools. So from compiler, debugger, profiler, and emulator and libraries, etc. So it's basically what developers are using on a daily basis. So I answer their questions, and I write programmer's guide on showing developers how to understand our technology, also apply these technology into their designs. And later on, I move on to machine learning and the GPU technology. So actually, although my subject changes, but my job actually, the functionality is very similar. So I still work for developers, but my team is larger and responsibility bigger. But my essential is to make sure our developers can adopt ARM technology more smoothly. So yeah, so when we spot any daily issues, we will reflect and see how to improve the product. For example, how to improve the ease of use and make the development life easier, say with better documentation or with better tooling or with better diagnose methodologies, etc. So so it's very meaningful work, I consider. So me and my team are still working for developers daily.
Wow, you're really on the front line there, Juan, right? And you've given us such a breadth of ARM technology that you cover. It's amazing to hear, and it's really lovely to hear your passion coming through about the work that you do. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we need to be talking more. I'm so excited by all the stuff you've just pulled out. It's amazing. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question now. Pareena, this one is for you. I know we've worked together kind of for the last 3.5 years since I started at ARM, actually, and you're involved in so many projects that are significant towards developers. I can name a few, like the work that you did previously on cycle models, ARM virtual hardware, IP Explorer, and the cool fun stuff that's coming soon, as well as your book. I guess from my perspective, it would be great to understand, what do you see as being your greatest work achievement towards developers?
That's a tough one, right? You just called off a bunch of projects, and all of which I've been really passionate about, right? Especially like the IP Explorer, which seeded from the cycle model technology. And the one commonality in terms of what was the most, the greatest accomplishment in all of these projects is when a developer comes back to you, the developer that you're working with comes back to you on their project and says, yay, hoorah, I've accomplished what I needed to, whether it was benchmarking something on an ARM device or it was just getting their software validated and running. even before they had silicon available, right? And the fact that you develop these relationships with developers along the way as you're working on these projects, and when they come back to you with, thank you so much, this is fantastic, I could, optimize my software and I could squeak out this much better performance on this because of your help. I think that's really what's the most rewarding bit of the work that I do with developers. It's when they achieve success and when they're able to accomplish their goals with their projects. That nothing's more rewarding than that.
That's amazing. You're really putting that into perspective of like the stuff that you do and how it helps them overcome a problem, right? And it must, yeah, I get it. I think it's lovely when people are able to say, thank you for helping me with this. Hey, we have a small person. That's beautiful, Gemma Paris.
That's a surprise.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Pareena. Gemma, you need to show us that beautiful flower.
I don't know. I just did it today. Amelie will have to explain me what exactly is this from.
Was that your kid who brought it in?
Yeah, my daughter.
Oh,
I think it's for Women's Day, or no, for Mother's Day this weekend.
Oh, Mother's Day. Yeah.
Oh, is Mother's Day coming up?
UK one is this Sunday.
Oh,
it's
okay.
normally different depending on where in the world you are.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to call my mom. Uh-oh. She's in the chat right now. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, that was sweet.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, it seems that there is a bit of a theme here, right? I mean, you are all, or so far, you are all very, very much happy when developers succeed, and you're doing what you can to help these developers succeed. And I think this is a great segue into the next question, which is for Gemma Paris, who happens to be on my team, reporting into Gemma. So Gemma Paris, don't mess up. Gemma Platt is here watching.
Indeed.
So the question is, what do you enjoy most, or what do you enjoy doing most at work? And it cannot be hanging out or talking with Gemma Platt. It has to be. So what do you enjoy most doing at work, Gemma Paris?
All right. So what I enjoy doing most, what gets me out of bed to go to work, I would say it's a couple of things. It's interfacing with people. I realized this at the very start of my career because I started developing a software program at the very beginning, optimizing a cellular network and the switching nodes, etc. And the assignment was just myself working on the project alone with a computer day by day. And it was like 1 or 2 months. And then I said, oof, it demotivated me. And I really liked the project and the challenge. So that was one learning at the very beginning of the career. And then the second learning is that I like to be in a job position that I solve complex problems and I use my technical background. And I really like currently when I interface with the diverse engineering team at ARM, and we are 3,000 here in Cambridge. By the way, I didn't know Juan here, but she has helped me a lot doing the developer education collateral. I just bumped into her team. It had been several weeks for me looking inside ARM who could help with ARM intrinsics, developer education collateral, and who the experts, ARM experts would be. And there were a lot of ARM experts, but perhaps not so focused on developers. And I bumped into Juan several years ago. And from there, this is history. We've been co-working together and leveraging each other, and I really appreciate that. So making those connections and having a very interesting conversations and solving developer issues. So and then at ARM, what happens is that I can do both, right? I can liaise with lots of interesting people inside and outside ARM with the developer community. So that sorted click, right? The interfacing with people one. And then honestly, the knowledge that there's here at ARM Engineering and the discussions and the learnings that you can learn. The sky is the limit, honestly. So yes, I am in the right place and I will always learn something new every day. So that's, And last but not least, I wanted to say that it is important for all this developer education collateral that we create and we assemble within all of us here at ARM. It needs to reach out the appropriate developers and on a timely manner. And one of the good ways that we would like developers, because we release them on a regular basis, that I encourage all developers to sign up to developer program. Maybe you already, Robert, you do that on a regular basis, but this is really very important for developer education, because we release new tools, we release new code, new examples, and we may inspire with new features that they can use. So yes.
Cue the developer program banner, Gabe.
The shameless plug come through.
Yeah, Gemma, amazing answer. I love hearing the wanting to work or enjoying working in diverse teams. I think that's it's huge, and I don't think that people touch on that enough. The role that diverse teams play in terms of how we can deliver better things to just everything we do can be made better by working in diverse teams. And that could be an episode on its own, is the benefits of working in diverse engineering teams. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, just to echo with Gemma's comment, and I truly enjoy collaborating with Gemma and many other teams and people. I really feel, the true passion on the things. So it's not about gender, it's not about colors, it's nothing. It's just really down to the heart, what you really like, what you really passionate about, and bring the talent, bring the energy together and make things to work, right? So that's how we make all these programs guide published and in a speedy way. So that make things to happen. That's great. Thanks for the collaboration.
Excellent.
Thank you all. It's been really good just to initially kick this off and hear from the ARM team, but we're now going to segue over to hear from Noura, because Noura is one of our ARM ambassadors, and we have several questions that we would like to ask Noura. And we want to understand a little bit more about the role you play, why you chose to apply to be an ARM ambassador, and kind of how you would actively encourage other people to get involved. So I'm going to start off, if that's okay, Noura, just asking you, how did you hear about the ARM developer program, and what motivated you to become an ARM ambassador?
Okay, thank you, Gemma. So actually, I have been working a long time ago on some STM boards, doing some embedded system design. And I have been using the ARM. I have been studying, going through the ARM architecture and so on. So each time I have been trying to dig resources about ARM. This is from one side. From the other side, as program director, I have been always into the innovation on teaching, So I've been trying to find different, methods to bring theoretical, what we see in computer systems theoretically, to bring it to, real use cases. And then the ARM actually offers this kind of opportunity. I was just going through LinkedIn. I found the call, and I just read about it. It was really amazing. This is like what I'm looking for. Part of what actually Gemma Perry said. She said actually it's about networking and learning from each others, and that's it. Actually, this is what we want to teach in education. Actually, it's how to networking with each others. Actually, there are always someone to help you solve your problems, outcome your problems. So this is something I found interesting in the ARM community. And this is basically what motivated me to become an ARM ambassador. I really like something sharing things, and I think I really like to bring things to students, new things, new technologies. It's not just theoretically, we are just saying lectures each time, but it exists, it's there, and people are working around that. So it's real experience. I think it's a nice experience. And yeah, basically this is what motivated me to be part of this nice group, actually.
That's brilliant. I think highlighting like the networking opportunities is something we don't often kind of focus on, but actually it's so important because, we're taught how to network internally, but actually, and that's how we learn to share and how we engage with other communities. But equally, this the developer program is super important for us because we want to kind of hear from the outside in, right? We really want to learn from people in our communities. We really want to understand, how we can work together and kind of any issues, pain points that we should be solving. Like, people help each other, and that's so important. And that's so, like, I think if I was to kind of define like some of like the heart and soul of a program, it would be that helping, that community kind of self-serving, and it's so important. So thank you so much for kind of calling that out and like the significance of it to you as well.
Thank you.
Excellent. And Noura, you get a double whammy here. There's another one coming for you. All right, we got one more question.
Sure, anytime.
So, as an ARM ambassador yourself, what do you hope to get out of this program? And this I think is a really important one for us, right? Because as more ambassadors and more developers join this network, we want to hear from the folks who are already in the program. How do you envision this supporting the work that you're doing and in the communities that you're involved with right now? So, what do you hope to get out of the program, and how do you envision in the future, say short term, 1 year, what do you view getting out of this in terms of how we can support you in the communities you're in?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. So actually, maybe I'm going to talk from two different hats, let's say, using two different hats. So as the hat of the program director, I think that being an ARM ambassador should give us access to different resources, different, let's say, webinars, workshops, and so on. So we can access actually those resources. Also, I heard recently about the virtual hardware of ARM. So I think also this is a good opportunity. Maybe we can share this with students. We give them access actually to explore the power of the ARM architecture. So this is from one side. From the other side, as a researcher, as I'm doing work on developing, let's say, AI, artificial intelligence on hardware. I think that this is going to bring to me let's say, ideas, new tools also that I can use in this in my research work. From the other side, it's also about networking with experts from ARM ambassador, in Discord, for example, going through the chats, or even reading from them what's happening, what's new on the field. It's something interesting, really. Yeah. So basically, accessing resources, virtual hardware. As you know, maybe here in Tunisia and maybe in other countries, it's really rare to have access to hardware, basically like FPGAs, for example, or different, let's say, toolkits that are expensive. So working on virtual hardware is really interesting, and I found this a good solution actually to educate students on advanced techniques, not only basic techniques, and see the application. Yeah. So I think I have been talking from both sides. As a teacher, also, it's really useful, like to get in touch with different guys, with different experts, to share another point of view of things. For example, if we are teaching computer architecture, as Juan said, maybe it's ARM actually. So when we give the example of ARM, it's a real example. It's not just like theoretical example.
So that's great. I was actually wondering, Gemma, we had a couple good questions in the YouTube chat.
We do. I was just looking at them, actually. Yeah, we should call them out, right?
Is that okay? Can we do that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So which one do you want to do first? The one from Carlo or the one from UK Chinese Women Connect?
Let's go with let's do them in order, right? So the one from Carlo is Noura. How can we prepare younger generations for the ever-changing landscape of technology, including emerging technologies like language models and generative technologies? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's a large debate actually with ChatGPT and all the new things that are happening around of us. Like, we don't know even how to give assignments nowadays, you know. like things are really changing. I think we should like go through really discussions, a lot of discussions, and this one, a panel should be actually reproduced maybe for such subjects, to talk about how to prepare those young generations. I think the basics are always important, like computer, for example, architecture, the basics, fundamentals, they should be always there. I don't know, my students sometimes are asking, we can use Python, we don't need C or C++. Why do you like just teach us those things, complex things? But I said always, engineering, it's about critical thinking and problem solving. It's not about just tools. So, okay, we use tools at an advanced level, but in the beginning, I think like the first, second year of engineering, they should be fundamental science, fundamental rules of I don't know, programming and so on. And then we move to integrate those tools. They are so important. Now we talk about game-based learning. I mean, students, they don't pay attention enough if you don't like change your course or your lecture into a game. Actually, this is how we can use the new technology. I have been using Kahoot sometimes in my lectures. We are trying to use the gamification, what's called, of courses. So this is something that may help. But yeah, it's a big discussion, I think.
Wow, you really need to switch things up these days, right? There's no more just standing in front of a class or giving them a bit of, development boards to get stuck in. You actually have to go and gamify your lecture and your lessons.
Exactly.
Wow, that's blown my mind. I think I might go back to school if that's what's happening. Maybe it sounds awesome.
Well, ChatGPT can write everything for you now, so
yeah, you don't know how to assess even students.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then we have another question from UK Chinese Women Connect: how to encourage more females to become software engineers?
You know what I'd like to do with this one real quick? I'd like to give kind of everyone on the panel a chance to maybe give like a minute or so on this one. So we can start with you, Noura, but Juan, Gemma, and Pareena, if you could prepare a little response as well, it'd be great. So is that okay? Yeah, good.
Yeah. Sure. So how to encourage female actually, to become a software engineer, or let me say more than that, hardware software engineer, because I always like introducing hardware in things, So basically, I think, first of all, the market, the trend nowadays is in development. Like no one can be out of this. If you are willing to be part of this society, you should be a developer for sure. I mean, you should even know how to use those tools. Otherwise, you will be. You don't have your place in the society. So any like female or male want to have his place should be there. And basically, for females, they should actually prove themselves. I don't know, in Tunisia, we don't have this issue so much, Usually the number of females in the engineering classes is much more than the number of males. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. Wow.
We should be taking notes about what you all are doing over there.
Well, I find it interesting because in Spain also it's 25% women and 75% men. So it's maybe not as good as in Tunisia, but it's not as bad as in UK when they told me 3 to 5% only. And I said, wow, the more civilized, or I don't know, the more the economy is, I don't know what happens in there. Maybe, but yeah, sorry, I chime in here because
No,
that's a topic that I really like. Because basically for me it would be more to educate from very young, the very young generation at primary school even, removing all the preconceptions that women shouldn't do this, and it's a bit of like in the background, it's maybe even unconscious. I come from a very patriarchal society, so actually in Spain it's at my time, I don't know now, but yes, basically my family, when I said I want to be an engineer, okay, but my brother said you need to be an engineer. So my brother had a lot of pressure to be one, and me said, okay, you don't need to if you don't want, and okay, you like maths, but so it was very different. So to me, I got the encouraged because I was the little sister, and I wanted to be do big things. And why it's not important for me and it's important for my brother. Why I cannot drive a motorcycle and my brother yes. And then yeah, it was a bit of a fighter from the beginning. So that what drove me. I said, okay, I want to go to a foreign country and visit new things and do new things. So,
well, Gemma, motorcycles are dangerous. Okay, they for everyone. But yeah,
maybe, but yeah, that's funny.
We lost someone. Cool. Well, let's hear from Juan as well.
Yeah.
Great comments.
Yeah, so it's a great question, and actually, I'm one of the member of UK CWC. Yeah, so it's a great society. So we're a bunch of female immigrants from China in the UK, and there we found so many talented women in all kind of fields, including technology domains. Yes, so it is a really challenging thing to encourage more women into the technology role. But I think with all the effort so far, we have seen already quite lots of changes in a positive way. To my experience, and when I joined or pick up this technical subject was purely based on the family's decision. They say, oh, you are good at math, so why not? You should go for this, and also it's highly paid job, right? So there are plenty of good opportunities there. It's setting up the future. So in China, we had the famous saying that the future is based on technology. So therefore, I was encouraged to enter the technology domain. I think even nowadays, right, we just keep promoting, technology that make technology the subject as a normal subject in the school. So we'll largely change the atmosphere. So I see my son's school, right? They have computing and coding classes and clubs, and he's only 8 years old. So all the girls are all attending these classes. So to them, there's no differentiation and say, oh, in the past, there's a perception this is a boys' subject. Actually, these days, to them, it's just normal. So everybody learns about technology. Yeah. So I think that we will see probably a brighter future, have more women involved in the field.
Yeah, I think the point that you highlight there is about the schools kind of shifting the dialogue, right, and changing up their lessons and starting much earlier on, right? You're talking about kind of the dramatic shift to going to primary education versus starting in secondary and further education. So I think it's a super exciting time to be coming through school now and having so many more opportunities to get involved in an area like this, right? So yeah, thank you all. That's been really great. We have not much time left, and we have a few more questions that we'd like to try and get through, if that's okay. So, Pareena, we would like to talk to you a little bit more about the current exciting projects for developer education that you've got, including your Cortex-M development book, and also the other project that you're currently working on with regard to how-to guides in ARM at the moment. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Absolutely. I'm excited about both of them. I'll start with the latter first. All right. I think when I introduced myself, I talked about, how I've worked with developers on several different projects. It's typically been in the IoT and the embedded space, and not so much in the server and the mobile side. But, the common theme was, it's a developer trying to get a piece of software working on ARM. And years of working with partners, you basically get equipped with tips and tricks to help people get, their answers. And so we started this new project, which hopefully will be launching really soon. That is, we've created an open source community project where developers and people inside of ARM, who are developers as well, can contribute nice, concise, how-to based tutorials for developers to go through based on whatever field that they're working on. As Gemma had mentioned, sky is the limit in terms of what we can do with ARM technology, whether it's in the server space or whether it's down to the edge devices. And there are so many different software stacks that you're dealing with in all of these different areas. So by creating this, community-based project where people can come in and contribute their how-to tutorials, which would let you copy-paste commands and get your software working on your ARM device, we think that would definitely benefit the community. But, more than anything, it's a collaborative effort, right? And this came up a bunch of times. We think it's great that we can all collaborate together and share what we've learned. And that's what this new project, the new website that we'll be launching is going to be all about. In terms of my book, I co-wrote a book with, called The Insider's Guide to Cortex-M Development. It's all along the same theme in terms of what I'm doing these days. It's about sharing knowledge, right? And beyond the sharing knowledge aspect, it's been a personal growth experience for me as well, right? Because it's one thing to talk to partners and get something running with them. It's another thing where you need to actually articulate and write in much detail when you're sharing with a wider audience via a book. So I think it's been a wonderful growth experience, and I hope developers working in the Cortex-M world will benefit from what we've shared in this book. I co-wrote it with two of my coworkers who are fantastic people to work with, which made it all the more fun to do.
Real quick one, Pareena, maybe you can answer this quickly. We got a question from Hybrid Robotics that Carlo, +1 here. Is the book a low-level assembly type stuff or also C, C++, and other programming languages?
It's more of the lower level, it's like boot code and it code kind of stuff to get working on your Cortex-M device. But then it's higher level in terms of how do I optimize a C program to run on this Cortex-M device to get the best performance out of it. So I would say it's more tips and tricks. While catered towards the lower level developer, it's not all assembly. It's not just, 500 pages of assembly code. It's, tips and tricks of how to optimize your C and C++ application. But at the same time, you got to know how a device comes up. So.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Let's close this one out, Gemma, with our last question.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, so far for all of your contribution today. It's actually been, from my side, it's been super amazing to hear from you and actually understand all of the correlation that you have and hear your passion and understanding and kind of what you get out from the work that you do. So thank you. But the last question we have today is what message, and this is to Noura. So Noura, what message would you like to give to our developer community?
Yeah, thank you, Gemma. So basically, I would like to advise everyone to use networks. Networking is so important. Everything is now available. Everything now is shared. So yeah, try to share, try to network, find guys that helps you, find the network actually that value your input, right? And then things will actually go correctly in a short period.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you kind of summarized the whole kind of sense of this session today, right? This was about getting ARM people and an ARM ambassador together with us today and talk about, the opportunities for developers and hearing about networking. I think you nailed it there with your summary. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So are we ready to close this one out, Gemma, or what do you say?
Oh yeah, look, we're really close to time, and I'm just really grateful. So I just firstly want to, before you press the end button, I would just like to firstly thank you all very much for taking the time to join us today, and thank you to everyone watching as well. We hope this has been really insightful, and if you want to learn more, there's obviously a heap of people to connect with here as well, and hopefully we'll get more opportunities to do things more like this and more live networking sessions as well, right? It's great to hear the significance of kind of the difference that they make to your everyday working lives as well. So thank you all very much for your time today. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all soon. Oh, and thanks, Robert, for letting me, jump in and co-host with you too.
Honestly, Gemma, you're a natural. Gabe, you might be off the show from this point on. We're going to bring Gemma in as the co-host going forward.
Does that mean I need to put the cap on though to actually take over? You know,
we do need the cap. I can't see Gabe. He has his camera off in the green room, but sorry, Gabe, you're out.
That's what happens when you bring in the boss, right?
Yeah. No, but seriously, Gemma, you killed it. This was amazing. It was a great session. So yeah, I get to sleep in. Yeah, that's what Gabe says. All right, cool. Well, yes, I want to echo everything that Gemma just said. This was amazing. I mean, thank you so much. You four, including you, Gemma, 5, spent an entire hour here, contributing to the ARM developer ecosystem and genuinely providing a wealth of knowledge. I feel that will, live on demand. So if you're watching this on demand, thank you so much. But yeah, this was just great. I loved it. So thank you so much for all 5 of you. And on that note, I'm going to close this out now. So to everyone who's watching this on demand or watching it right now, keep an eye on the description. We do our best to make sure that anytime something was mentioned in terms of Pareena's book or the ARM developer program, we will put those links and more resources, access to the stuff that we've talked about throughout this hour in the description. I want to remind you all that if you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button. It helps us out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe to the ARM software developer ecosystem. The ARM software developer YouTube channel, because we do this all the time. We have shows like this all the time. And while this one is a very special one, we will be back next week at 5 p.m. UTC, ready to talk to our next guest. So any last words from anyone? We can just do one more round table maybe and get you one last word in here. Noura, we'll go Noura, Juan, Pareena, Gemma, Paris. Any last words here, Noura?
I'd like just to thank you, all of you. Really, I really want to invite you as guest lecturer to my course as soon as possible.
Whenever you want. Gemma and me will go.
Everyone. Thank you.
Juan?
Yeah, this is a great panel discussion, and I sense the energy. It's great to see similar people, and the passion as well. And I wish to see more, maybe younger generation or some hobbies to join us. So basically, ARM is developing technology for everyone. Right. So we also invite everyone to join in the development work. So to make a better world. Yeah.
Excellent. Pareena.
Yeah, I know there are tons of women out there who are working on ARM projects. We can't be a minority anymore. So definitely apply to the ARM developer program, apply to be an ARM ambassador. We know you're working on fantastic stuff. We just need to get you in there. So definitely apply.
Paris, Gemma, Paris.
All right. Well, it's just echoing what everybody has said here, honestly, and maybe reinforce the power of the community. I am impressed how much you can get with being multiple speakers. It gives a different energy and a wider perspective. I love it. We need to do more panel discussions, Robert.
Excellent. And Gemma, Platt, last but not least, ready to go?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm just grateful for everyone's time, input, and to hear the passion and all of the synergies that we have. And I think everyone else nailed it really. So my work here is done. I can go now, right? But thank you all, because it's this community effort, this networking effort, and everyone showing up and sharing is what it's all about. So yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, let's give a really cool looking, goodbye as I click this banner. We can all wave into the camera and then I'll click and we'll go off live. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.